So whenever I'm checking in on my boa constrictors, what is it that I'm looking for to make sure that these guys are healthy? All right, so first things first, this shouldn't be taken as veterinary advice. If you think that there's something wrong with your animal, you need to seek out a certified veterinarian for your exotic animals. All right, so one of the first things that I'm checking for happens before I ever even get these guys out of the enclosure, and that's their responsiveness. I'm checking to see if these guys are responsive inside of their enclosure. Now, depending on the time of day you're going in there, or if your boa might be sleeping or not, they might not be responsive inside the enclosure. You might have to tap on the cage to be able to get their attention, but they should be responsive. I'll also check responsiveness on the outside of the enclosure too. So I'll just, wave a hand in front of them. Ooh, let me do it right here. I'll wave my hand in front of them. They should be following you around. They should be paying attention to what's in front of their face. So right next to responsiveness is going to be the way that their scales look. I want to make sure that their scales don't have anything in between them, that their scales aren't discolored or anything, that they don't have any kind of oddities outside of their normal pattern. Now, there can be some discoloration that might come from their bedding, depending on what kind of bedding you have it on. Sometimes they do get bedding underneath their scales, but you want to make sure that there's not anything weird out of the ordinary, something that might be discolored and then also textured. It might be rough. You want to check and make sure that they don't have any bacterial or fungal growth. So I'll always look right around I'll look right around their mouth. I'll look right around their head. I'll look underneath their belly to make sure that, all these scales are in good condition. Look along their sides, but basically just give them a whole once over. Another good spot to look is right in their vent. I'm not going to show you the snake's butthole, but you get the gist. Now, when we're giving them that once over, another thing that we're checking for is going to be stuck shed. If there's any stuck shed on the boa constrictor, that gives us a good idea if there is problems with the husbandry. That a boa constrictor should shed all in one piece pretty much. Sometimes it might tear on something. If you got sticks or branches inside of the enclosure, sometimes it might tear on that and it might not be that perfect one piece, but for the most part it does come off in one piece. They shouldn't have any stuck shed on them ever. If they do have stuck shed on them, that would let me know, okay, I need to raise humidity up. I need to make sure that my animal is hydrated. Keep in mind, if you are leaving the water bowl in there for a week at a time or anything, bacteria will grow. I have a big belief that boa constrictors do not drink dirty water. If you just leave dirty water in there for a long time, I think that your animal would become dehydrated just from that, because I just don't think that they drink the water. Now, don't try to myth bust me on the dirty water thing, but look at this guy. There is no stuck shed on him at all. If there was some stuck shed on him, it would let me know that he's dehydrated or that his humidity isn't right. So one of the last things I'm looking for in these guys is going to be body shape. They really should have this loaf of bread look. When you look at their midsection, they should be square bodied. If you ever stretch your boa out and you look at them, they should be square bodied. You want to make sure that you can't see their ribs. They're not showing ribs even whenever they're bending. But you also want to make sure that they're not so big that they kind of look like a flat tire either. And these guys are opportunistic feeders, so if you offer them a meal, they're probably going to take it. But that's one of the things that I look for if I either need to bump their feeding up or if I need to feed them something smaller or less frequently, or if they came and they weren't getting enough to eat. One or the other. Just something to keep in mind. Good, healthy boa should have a nice square body, and have great muscle tone. You should feel it whenever you're holding them. It should be strong. Even this guy, being the size that he is fairly strong. Now that pretty much wraps it up. What I check for whenever I'm going into their enclosures, whenever I'm doing their water bowl changes, whenever I'm misting their cages, those are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for their body shape, their muscle tone. I'm looking at their responsiveness, if they are alert in the first place, if their activity is up. Again, boas they're not inactive snakes. These aren't ball pythons. These guys will move around. They will explore. Now, this guy's sitting in my hand and he's chilling, but he will move around his cage. If you see him just in one spot in their enclosure, there might be a reason for why. Now, that doesn't go, there are variables to all this. So like if your boa goes and hides away for 2 to 3 days while they're in shed, that's a known behavior, not something to worry about. So make sure that you're checking on your boa, get to know your boa, understand the behaviors of your boa, and if you need to see it again, this is what a healthy boa looks like. Go ahead and give it up for Rio. Rio is my blood arabesque, and he is just over a year old now. Now, don't forget, if you got anything out of this video that's useful, if this helped you at all, if you know somebody else that this might help, don't forget to show some support for the channel. Hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment if you have any questions. I'll respond to every single one of them, and then send this to a friend if it will help someone else. Until next time, happy keeping.